What's good, world? ADMT.TV. Today, here with a new episode of Hip DaD'S. So what's good, world? Today, I'm here with my man, General Steele.
Salute, salute, salute.
One half
Power
of
to the people.
the rap, the hip hop legends, pioneers, Smif and Wessun. Boot Camp Clip.
BCC.
Let's
Salute.
go. Let's talk about it. So, what I want the people to know is, man, what got you into being a musician? Because a lot of people don't know, going back to, instruments and stuff like that. What got you into wanting to dove into being a musician?
I mean, for me, man, it's just something as simple as, growing up in Brownsville and just being surrounded by music and poverty. Like as a child, we're very inquisitive, and without getting in trouble. My grandma ain't play that. Grandma Dottie ain't play that.
There you go.
Grandma Dottie put the whistle on. Where you at?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, the hood on alert, and that's the cloth, that's the quilt, I like to say, that we come from. But I think it was my curiosity, from watching my dad, have records, and just going through the records, and the music was always captivating. So I never looked at myself as being a musician. I followed the sound. I followed the vibe, and the vibe, especially when hip hop went bow. It's like, wow, you just was like a magnet to it.
Right.
I by no means that I think, what, I'm gonna be a star.
Right.
I'm gonna write raps. I'm gonna do this. I'm like, I'm just gonna like be a fan of this
right,
genre.
Right.
So it evolved, bro.
Right. Right. And one of the things I see, man, and I tell you, it inspires me. A lot of people see, being a musician and being on the road. What you put into your body is very important.
Woo!
And I see you with, the greens,
yes,
and the different stuff. So tell us a little bit about that, because, tell us from one side, what got you in? Have you always been eating like that, or did things happen across, along the road?
It's an evolution, man. It's an evolution. My family, for the most part, my mother's side is from the South. So, people from the South, they eat heavy swine. I grew up eating pork chops and bacon like everybody else, and then at some point started doing the 120, studying the Book of Life, Peace of the Gods and Earths out there. And then the older guards start saying, yo, we don't eat that. We don't eat swine anymore. So now we stop eating pork. And then as evolution evolves, you go, well, we don't deal with the flesh too much. So for a period when my first son was born, it's like around 97, 98. I spent probably like 4 or 5 years as a vegetarian, like learning what that was about.
Right.
And unfortunately, it sucked. But I'm glad that I was able to embrace it.
Right.
So because that taught me how to balance my intake. So I don't need the flesh. I don't need to rely on it. So I can, if I want to do some tofu or do some tempeh or something like that, it doesn't freak me out, Right. So I'm like, okay, I want to be healthy. I want to be around for a little while. So what are some of the things other than fruit, and plant-based stuff, especially living in the wilderness of North America. Right. We in Bucktown, by the way. This is BAM. We in Brooklyn. We in Brooklyn right now.
BK.
You know what I mean? On the streets.
That's where we shooting from. That's where we reside. Word. BK all day.
But it's been a great growth for me, man. And as late in my later years, being blessed with being able to travel, just showed me different variations of food. It's like, now I'm like a foodie. Now I'm like, okay, let's learn more. What else you got? So I'm ready to rock and roll, man. So I'm like, everybody out there, whatever. I don't like to, how you say, I don't want to like kidnap people's appetites and stuff like that. But be mindful of it. Right. And study what your vibe is. I know brothers personally, high cholesterol, diabetes, Like those are like the main two.
Yep.
And a lot of that come from the stuff that we eat right off the
Yep.
bat.
Yep, and when you only surrounded by fast food, because you know, me myself, to let you guys know on Hip DaD'S, I'm a diabetic myself, and I had to learn how to readjust what I was putting in my body. It's a battle, you know, because when you work a lot and you're out here every day, the only thing that's surrounding us is mostly the bad stuff, and sometimes that bad stuff tastes good, but just because it tastes good, right, exactly, on the go, it doesn't mean it's always good for you. And I learned that some years ago, about 10 years ago, I had to let go soda. It's been like over 10 years that I haven't drunk soda, and just drink strictly water, and just trying to put the right things in my body. So I seen you, man. Do you chef it up, man?
Yes, I do. That's real. That's real. Everything I do on the line, that's me. I like, and again, I attribute that to traveling as well, because like if I go to a country and I'm eating some great fish, and then when I go back home, I'm not going to the Chinese restaurant. I'm not, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm taking a picture of the menu.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see my wife later, and I'm gonna go, yo, babe, you think we can do it?
Right.
I accept the challenge. You know what I mean? And then you got the World Wide Web, like Google that, and they go, yo, all right, well, how do you make Mediterranean lamb? Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah, I want that taste. I want that vibe. I want that feel. I want to have that same vibe that I felt when I was sitting in that restaurant. And I'm like, ooh, this is good. So I try to emulate that when I'm home, and it helps a lot, because, you know, when you see it, you know the possibilities. Right. You know? Right. And then it's like, I like right today is a beautiful Sunday.
Exactly.
You know, we grew up in Brownsville. You have what we call Sunday dinners.
There you go. Yeah.
So Sunday dinners is loaded.
Exactly.
It's loaded. It's overloaded. It's probably like we grew up eating, and we in the project. So we grew up eating like Thanksgiving. Every Sunday was like Thanksgiving, like heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And like, wow, well, you know, we upgrade. Exactly. You know, we downsize and upgrade. Yeah,
and you definitely try to make sure that even family-wise, that's very important. And tell us a little bit about that, man. How has it been? Because a lot of people, again, they see the music side, they don't see the human side. Wow. So how has that been from watching your seeds grow up to, you know, now, you know, being a father, understanding we're of a certain age and really appreciating it. Yeah. No,
it was real. It's been challenging. It's been challenging. Somebody told me one day. Somebody said, "Yo, never say." I said, "Yo, it's hard, bro." He was like, "Don't say that." You know, I'm like, all right, I'm with the esoteric stuff, but let's deal with reality. Shit is hard.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's challenging. It's hard. It's difficult. Like, it is no picnic.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But you gotta want it. I think that if you want to change, if you want to grow and evolve, you have to embrace it.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I can't walk around and call myself general without following the lessons of what does it take to hold that position. And it's been extremely challenging, man, but it's been a beautiful struggle. A beautiful struggle. Where my son just celebrated his 23rd birthday, though.
Blessings,
my firstborn name is Genesis Einity.
Blessings,
big up to all my Rastafaris out there.
There you go.
Einity, that means unity. So it's like we're trying to put it out there so we can have a different dialogue. You know, we grew up a certain way. That don't mean they gotta grow up this way.
Exactly.
So what do you have to offer to the pool of life? And you know, let's see what we got.
Being on the road a lot, you know, you know, when you first get into it, it's exciting. You know, everything is exciting because it's new. Then as time go by, you realize the trials and tribulations. How important of a role has family played to keep your sanity and keep you mentally, you know, focused?
I mean, family is a foundation for me. Good, bad, and ugly. You know, probably the ugly, the best. Right. Because it brings you back to reality. Like I don't like riding in limousines. You know, I'm not as much as I've flown to different countries. I still am not comfortable with flying. You know, so it's for me.
Me too.
I'm doing my prayers and my du'as, and I'm going, okay, I can't wait to do this mission and get back to my family. You know, and then tell them about my experience. It's like 360 degrees back home to really have that the platform to go out in the world and it reminds me of the old tales that we used to hear. The guy would go out to the forest and go hunting or something like that, and come back and bring it to the family. Then you would break bread.
Right.
So I mean, family is very important.
Yeah. Do you sometimes when I'm out and about, because I haven't traveled the extent that you have, but traveling around, sometimes you see so many beautiful things, and I wish my wife was here to see this, or I wish my sons was here to see this, so this way they could kind of, growing up, because we grew up in Brownsville and we grew up in a lot of areas, you don't get to see the diversity that you get to see outside of that. I knew a brother that was like, man, he would, yo, I'm going on vacation. All right, where you going? He like, yeah, I'm going away. All right, where you going? He like, to Jersey. I'm like, all right, Jersey. I'm like, all right, so you going to, no, I was like, when you going away? He was like, no, I'm going away. I was like, yeah, but where? He was like, Jersey. I was like, that's right there. You're not going away, man. That's not going away. And you don't realize how many people's mindsets have conditioned them to be in that way and think that is actually traveling. So when you get to grow up and be in a situation that we grew up and then get to see outside of that, man, you see so many beautiful things that you're like, man, I need to take this back. You 100%. Need to experience this with me. How many times have you experienced situations like that, and how has that been for you?
I experience that every time, bro. I think that earlier, like when we first started going out, I didn't really care. It was like, it was just super exciting for me.
Right.
And then, as I got older, I'm like, wow. It's like, for example, like I've been to Paris like probably like 10 times, right? And then probably more than that. But the first like 5-6 times, it was just like do the show and you just hanging with the homies in Paris.
Right.
I never went to the tower.
Right, so you never got the experience.
Never. I'm like in the van going like, wow, the tower looks great. Right? So I'm like, all right, just one day after a show, one night after a show, me and Rock and his monster, salute the homie Rock.
There you go.
Rock, I'm like, yo, man, let's go to the tower, man. Like F this, man. Like, let's go to the tower. It's like, it's probably closed. I'm like, I don't even care. Let's just go and stand next to it and take mad pictures.
Exactly.
Right? So we did that. That's what we did. And for us, growing up in New York City, like we used to the tourism on 42nd Street and downtown Brooklyn and things like that. So, like, you get there and you see these guys, you see these Africans, selling you little Eiffel Tower, trinkets, and, but you like, you know what? Let me get like 2 of those. Yeah. I'm gonna take that back from my mom.
Yeah, there you go.
My mom's ain't going to Paris.
Right, there you go. Yeah,
so it's like you got the photos, and then you have like in your excitement, you think about this family, because you're right, they won't get this. So their version is going, yo, listen, hey auntie, here's a here's a keychain.
Yeah.
The slightest things that bring them with you. Right. And then we live in the World Wide Web. What I started doing after a while was like filming my experiences. And bringing it like how you're doing right now. Right. This is an important platform right here.
Yeah. And it's important for us because, like, I was saying about the brother that was saying Jersey was out of here. So many of us, I never forget one time, me and my mans, he probably gonna kill me for this. we was going to North Carolina, and my man had never been. And I know when he see this, I'm talking about him. And he was like, yo, I never forget, he asked a question, he was like, yo, they got milk out there? And my other man replied, because he was Sunday, he was like, yo, where you think we're at in Mars?
But that's it. But even on a road trip, you know what I'm saying? Like if you go from like New York City to like say like Woodstock up north or something like that, or Vermont or Burlington, like once you get outside of the city, your mind starts to do different things. Yes. When you start seeing the trees and the foliage and the water and the open space, your mind does different things. What I realized from traveling is that being in a city life, city dwelling, is very how do you say? It's strenuous. Right. It's also like a jail. Right. For lack of a better term, it's a jail because this is what you see all the time. Like if you grew up in Brownsville and you go for cats like me, Cephalo Projects or Brownsville Projects, you might shop on Belmont Avenue. Right. Or Pickett. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these cats never got on a train and came downtown Brooklyn. No. It's still a part of Brooklyn, it's still a part of Bucktown, but they don't shop on Fulton Street. Yeah. the first time you come to Fulton Street, you like, yo. You feel like a big mom. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm on Fulton Street, but you're still in Brooklyn, though. You know what I'm saying? So I can relate to when a bro say I'm in Jersey, because then, you know, there's parts of Brooklyn that are so beautiful. Yeah. And you like, wait a minute. I lived in Brooklyn for 20, 30 years. I've never been to this part. It's like, wow. So you can travel in the mind and just experience it better. And I think getting older for me has been great, because now I'm going, like, I go to Promenade. Like the Promenade is a place where for all the young bucks, that's where you take your first date.
There you go.
It's mad
there
sexy.
You,
you don't got no money, it's mad sexy. You look at the bridge, you look at Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge.
Exactly.
You get mad cool points with your girl, right? When I go to Promenade now, I'm like, as a mature man, I'm like, wow. You know, I feel like
feel good.
you know, it's a different